asparagus. Come right off. No need to be
God
shy.
save you, Henry. Glad to see you.
About that strange dream of yours.
I knew you'd be interested. That dream. Yes, that dream has come true. I dreamt that a young man would become my apprentice. My own pupil in the trade of miracles.
Look, smell. Aren't they lovely?
Then I'm in luck.
On the contrary, I'm the lucky one. What's your name, young man?
Henry.
Henry. A powerful name.
Asparagus, they'll
So,
cut you in
Henry,
half.
are you ready to become my apprentice?
What ails you? Come get them.
First, tell me, who are you, and what do you do?
Me? I am an unworthy, low, and miserable servant of Providence. Scholar or merchant, believer or heathen. I wander the world without home or family, with only my wagon, offering miracles to those that need them. That's who I am. Without home or kin, I wander this world with my wagon, providing the miracles that people need.
Happy.
Ointments, relics, aromatic herbs, rare spices, talismans and amulets for luck. All these things I have.
What exactly does it entail, becoming your apprentice?
A lot of work and strenuous labor. Knowledge of medicine, theology, and white magic. You have to study the great works of the ancients and devote your time to understanding your fellow men, listening to them, and learn to read their souls.
Nothing to it.
That's why God has sent you.
Have a look at these
So what is it?
cucumbers. They'll stay firm all winter.
All right,
Before
I'll be your
someone else
apprentice.
does.
Wonderful! Oh, glorious day! I have a successor in my work.
So, how do you plan to start training me?
With a test of your practical skills.
Oh,
I have my eye on 3 rare objects of great value. But sadly, they're a little difficult
Garlic
to
soup
obtain.
for the winter, onion soup for the spring, asparagus for
Go
taste,
on.
and prunes for what ails you. Try
First,
them.
I need a tooth of Saint Procopius. Then I'll need a branch from a topping out hung on a church. And finally, a talisman for luck from a passionate player.
bloody hell, that's a lot.
Garlic,
All right,
carrot,
one thing at a time.
beetroot, onions, all that grows in the
About
ground
that
fresh.
tooth,
Come right
it's
up.
going to be slightly more complicated, isn't it?
I know. Yes, it would be very difficult to gain such a rare relic, of course. That's why I have an alternative solution.
I'm listening.
A layman named Procopius lives by the monastery, and it just so happens, thanks to my intricate medical knowledge, that I found out he has a sick tooth.
How did you find out he has a sore tooth?
As it happens, he told me at the tavern. But that's not important.
And how am I supposed to get the tooth?
I haven't the faintest idea. You'll have to think of something. But maybe you'll be able to persuade him to let the blacksmith pull it.
Wouldn't that be swindling people?
It is, and it isn't.
Fresh
If I
vegetables.
sell that tooth as the tooth of Saint
Aren't they
Procopius,
lovely?
then it certainly is deceitful. But if I sell it as a tooth from Procopius of Sasau, then I'm cheating nobody.
Does it really matter whose tooth I bring then?
Of course it does. The name Procopius in this holy land is shrouded with mystical powers. Sometimes I might play a trivial
Lovely
trick on
cucumbers,
someone, but
asparagus
I assure you, I'm no swindler.
Fine, I'll get it from him.
Wonderful.
This topping out, what's that?
You're not a carpenter, it seems.
No, I'm a blacksmith.
I see. Well, topping out is a
Carrots that'll
decorated
make you and your
spruce or
family
a
happy.
conifer tree
Onions
hung
that'll make
on
you
top
cry.
of the roof of a new
Garlic
house
that'll
to bring
evil
good fortune
spirits
and
at
God's
bay.
blessing.
That topping off is hung pretty high, isn't it?
Naturally. It hangs on the rooftop according to tradition. And the church is tall.
And how am I supposed to get it down?
Damned if I know. But they had to get it up there somehow, didn't they?
Very well. I'll get it. This player's talisman. Where am I supposed to find it?
I actually have a specific one in mind. Here at the inn, there's a dice player who always has a cat's paw with him. That's supposed to bring him luck.
Asparagus, they'll cut you
A
in
cat's
half.
paw?
And
I thought
cucumbers,
players
they'll
bring along a
cure
rabbit's
what
paw for
ails
luck.
you. Come get them.
I thought so too. But this man is winning one game after another, so cats are clearly even more powerful than rabbits.
Oh. How am I supposed to get the talisman from him?
Cabbage.
I haven't a clue.
Green
It won't be
cabbage.
easy,
Hit it
but
before
I'm
it goes
sure you'll
brown.
find a way.
We'll see. Very well. I'll get you the paw. I'll get looking for those things then.
Excellent! You do that, my journeyman. Good luck. Take care now.
Carrot.
I am at your service.
You must be that lucky fellow everyone's talking about.
Lady Luck has been good to me lately, true enough. But that can change quicker than you know.
People say that you get help from a lucky charm.
Is that not allowed?
No, it is. It just interests me, that's all.
Why?
I'd like to try that luck of yours. Let's play for your talisman.
As you wish. My talisman against your groschen.
Sure. There'd be no point in it otherwise.
God be with you. So, bring it on. By Christ, I'm falling your way and no mistake. Well, seems my luck's run out. Damn it. Seeing how I lost, I reckon that cat's paw don't bring luck anymore.
Not to you, anyway. So, thanks for the game.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
Doesn't look good.
What? What are you talking about?
Your tooth. I bet it hurts a lot, doesn't it?
How do you know about that?
As a practitioner of the healing arts, I recognize the signs of a sick tooth. You have a bloated face, you're sweating, and the way you breathe is absolutely typical of the condition.
You're a physician?
Isn't that what I said? And if I can give you some advice, you should have it removed. There's a blacksmith down in the town.
No. There's no way I'm putting myself in the hands of that butcher.
I understand. But look here, I know about healing. I can go along with you and make sure everything goes as it should.
You do that?
Of course.
Jesus Christ. I'm a grown man and I need an escort.
You don't have to be embarrassed. Every man in the world's afraid of having his teeth pulled.
I know, but even so...
Let's go then, and get this over with.
Looking for a job?
Jesus, it's going to be really painful, isn't it?
Don't worry. It will hurt a little, but then you'll feel relieved. You'll see.
If you say so. Huh? I don't know. Isn't it a waste of time? Maybe it'll go away on its own.
Are you mad? It won't go away, it'll just get worse. The sooner we get it out, the better.
Yes, you're right. Look, I can't. It's embarrassing. I'm a coward, and I won't be able to handle it.
We're almost there. Just be a man about it.
You're right. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Hold him tight.
Let's do it.
Ah, look.
Jesus
It's
Christ,
out.
The agony.
Hey, want to keep it as a
What did I
memento?
do to
I'll have it.
deserve this?
Oh, all right.
The sun he hides behind the clouds. His echoes over his eyes. Snacks.
How's it going?
I went to look for those items you wanted.
Splendid, splendid. So, show me what you've got, lad.
Come get them.
The tooth of layman Procopius, which definitely isn't holy.
It isn't. But then again, one day it could be. You never know what course a man's life might take.
I suppose not. But it wasn't easy to get, so if anyone's the miracle worker here, it's me.
Calm now, don't exaggerate.
One cat paw for luck?
Wonderful. How did you obtain it?
You wouldn't believe it. I won it from him.
Oh, no, you don't. Now the talisman won't bring its owner luck anymore.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Oh, well, luckily it's a cat's paw, so it has other uses.
A branch from a blessed topping out.
Excellent. And how did you get it down?
I had to shoot it down.
Watch out for this man. He's a regular William Tell.
Well, there wasn't any other way.
So, we've got all that sorted out. And now, to the next matter.
Go on. I'm shaking with anticipation.
There's one more thing. It's rather
Vegetables.
complicated and, delicate.
What thing?
A shroud.
A shroud?
Yes. A burial shroud of someone who passed away not too long ago.
I'm just supposed to take a dead person's clothes.
Christ, no. I need a burial shroud. The precious enveloping garment in which the deceased is buried.
And does it matter who I take it from?
It needs to be someone who lived an honest life. And I have just the fellow. A good man by the name of Lokota who recently passed on.
Right. So where can I find him?
His family is waiting for the funeral. For now, he's lying in the small church in Sassa.
And who was this Lokota?
I know only a little, but according to the locals, he was an honorable man. You should certainly try to ask around. See you later.
Who are you?
Jesus.
Who are you? Get the hell out of here. There's nothing here for you. I'm honoured that you should come to me.
My condolences.
Thank you.
I've come to pay my last respects to a dear relative.
Have you? I've never seen you before.
I believe I'm your cousin. Unlike yours, my father never left Vlashim. He must have told you where our family comes from.
He never talked about him much. They didn't see eye to eye.
You're right. Bad blood. For a long time, I didn't know my father had a brother.
So then you know my father also married a woman from Vlashim.
Ugh. Oh, I could tell you some tales about Ludmilla.
I knew it! You lying wretch! Don't let me see you here again! God be with you.
Hey!
Carrots that'll make you and your family happy. Onions that'll make you cry. And garlic that'll keep evil spirits at bay.
I have the...
Lord Almighty, be quiet! Not here! You don't want everyone to see it, do you? Wait for me at my place.
I have the shroud for you.
Have you now? Good work.
Yes, well, it wasn't easy.
I'm sure. That's also why... Goodbye.
That's where he lives. Let's teach him a lesson.
He's
Oh,
inside. I saw him go
Fuck!
in.
Henry! Delay them!
What?
How? There's a reward for you in the trunk. I'll see you in the next go.
Break it down.
Do it.
What are you doing here?
He swindled me, too. I came here to throw his potions in his face, but it looks like he hasn't been home for a while. He probably ran away before his trickery could catch up with him.
Bastard. Either way, he'd better not show his face in this town again. Let's go.
Well, well, who have we here?
Ah,
the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess. You saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
But I had a divine revelation. That next time I won't be around to pull you out of the shit.
Oh, well, I am sorry. But these things are sent to try our fortitude in the face of adversity.
I'd like to try your fortitude. So what is it you want from me now?
Oh, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I was some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls.
A regular Good Samaritan.
And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sasau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
Sure. Kick him onto the path of righteousness.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead, returned from the grave. A corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
A wooden stake through the heart?
That's more a remedy for vampires and other bloodsuckers. You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sasau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
But that's a sin.
Refusing to help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
My conscience is clear where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
The grave is not in hallowed ground, so that's hardly worth one Lord's Prayer in penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
I'll need a spade, then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sasau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the Revenant.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty, unless it was dug up?
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. And he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough, they had nothing to eat. And so he took to thieving.
Well, I can understand him. To watch your family suffer like that. What could he do when they were going hungry?
If we'd known how badly off they was, folk would have helped out. But he kept his troubles to himself.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Leditchcott.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
God have mercy on their souls.
Amen.
Nothing could have been done to save them?
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day, he parted ways with God forever. And he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself. Nor us, either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
And pieces of cloth all the way. God save you.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. Ugh. He was from Ledechko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
The question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
Huh. I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Her conscience was troubled on account of her man, and she couldn't sleep. But I helped her, so she's found some peace.
So, no problem then.
What? I'm supposed to scare the wits out of her and start all over again?
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again?
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original, but it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, Switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
What if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help?
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
Maybe I should bury him somewhere else.
What are you saying? That would be such a waste. Anyway, if someone saw you, the whole game would be up.
Well, supposing I do it later, when the fuss has died down.
All right, if you must. But I don't know what you hope to get out of it.
At least the poor wretch will have peace at last.
Maybe. As long as you bury him in hallowed ground. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Like in Ratai, maybe?
Well, that's probably the nearest. That gossip-mongering crone would know.
True, I could ask her.
If you must. But for heaven's sake, don't even hint to her what you're up to. Take care.
Finally have some rest.